Feedback is something that you get when you put your opinions out on the internet, whether they're good or bad. The feedback is good or bad. And, Logan, we talked about our top 10 quarterbacks of all time. And I would like to point out that I have certainly gotten some feedback on my top 10. Some people were surprised by some of the names I put on mine. And you know what? That's okay because feedback's a good thing. You live, you learn, and you adjust. Maybe not your opinions, but how you present them. I don't know if I had done that better, then that people may have understood Jarek Garantano at number 10 for me, but I don't know. So welcome to the Rocky Top Rundown. My name is Alec, and with me is Logan with the rebuttal about my number 10 pick. So I will let you take away.
I was about to say, I promise I'm a bigger Jared Garantano supporter than anybody, like than anybody. But I don't think there's any way you could explain it any clearer to make him at number 10 make sense. So I gave my whole list, and people I know that listen to the pod, that's the only thing they've talked about is you putting Jared Garantano at number 10.
You know what? That's okay because number 10 is like essentially honorable mention, and I think he deserves more respect. And so I was just doing my part. I don't think it was outlandish to put him at 10. Any further, all right, cool. But like you look at his numbers, I'll dumb it down on that. Like I mean, his stats are there to allow him to be in the conversation for that 10th spot.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think it helps that I wasn't just in the trenches of that era of Tennessee, and I think that maybe some of that has played into it because when you just look at the black and white stats of it, he was a good quarterback considering it's, and then you add everything that's stacked against him. So I'm here doubling down on Jarek Garantano in my top 10, but that's not what we're here to talk about tonight.
Has TikTok been on you?
Actually, not really. Although I just posted it an hour ago and haven't gotten
Okay.
anything yet. But you know, we may have gotten the RG Richard G West to comment on our YouTube video. So that was cool. Don't know if it was him or not. Waiting on him to respond, but it looked like it was him. So the man that was once a parody count semi turned like actually semi reasonable source of information, but eh, you know, there's plenty of those kinds of accounts out there. So, but Logan, let's focus. Let's focus on the important thing here. The kickoff windows for Tennessee's football season have been announced, along with another kickoff time for the fourth game of the year with Texas. So we'll start all the way. We'll back up. The first three games, those times were announced. So Furman, that is a 3:30 kick, which I think is probably the best that Heupel could get. I know that if Heupel had it his way, that would have been a noon kick because you want to get in there, get out, especially because you play Georgia Tech at 7 p.m. The following week, and Georgia Tech, I believe, has a Friday game, and
They
so
have a
they're gonna.
Thursday game, I think.
I
Yeah,
think it got
Thursday
moved to
made
Friday.
Friday.
I was
Yeah.
talking to a Georgia Tech fan that I work with, and I asked him about Thursday, and he said no, it got moved to Friday. So that made me feel a little bit better. But you want to get out against Furman without injury, and get ready because that Georgia Tech game, you just don't know what to expect. To expect a physical team, but outside of that, not sure what else. Uh, they cleared house down there. But moving on from there is Kennesaw State. That's going to be a night kick at 7:45 on SEC Network. So they get that weird SEC Network late kick spot, which is why it's a 45 rather than 30 or because I believe the middle game there is 4:15 because they start 45 minutes later on SEC Network. And then
Yeah.
you get to week 4. Arch Manning and Texas come to town for what you would assume would be an afternoon kick or a night kick. But no, this will be a noon kick. Tennessee will kick off its SEC opener against Texas at the brightest point of the day with the sun right overhead at 12 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Central on ABC or ESPN. Um, First reaction to that, Logan, outside of being bummed?
No, that's pretty much my reaction. bummed because that's the old birthday, and my dad was supposed to come in town to go to that one, but my dad's a high school football official in Arkansas, so the earliest flight that gets in is 5 minutes before kickoff. So,
Mm,
yeah, we're a little bummed about that one, but I mean, logistically, I guess it makes sense. Um, because Oklahoma, Georgia, and A&M, LSU are both those days, and at that point in the season, you would assume that those will be two top 10 matchups. I haven't seen the preseason rankings. Maybe it's something like top 15 matchups.
right.
Not that Tennessee, Texas should be too far off, but the combined ranking of those Tennessee, Texas will probably be lower than or less, or however you want to say it, than those other two. So I guess in a way it makes sense. I mean, you know, it's kind of a bummer with this whole SEC ESPN deal that came into effect 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like that's basically the only time slot for them because they're not going to put that game on ESPN2
Right.
at an at an afternoon slot. And the big thing is the two things ESPN ABC is not going to do is they're not going to put it on the SEC network because that's for your especially with the non-con matchups that day. That's where that slides because you got to put them somewhere.
Right.
And then they're not going to put them at the same time as one of those two games because they don't want those games to compete against each other.
Right.
So, they don't want Tennessee and Texas to kick off at, 3:30 Eastern on ESPN, and then kick off A&M LSU at 3:30 Eastern on ABC. That just
Right.
messes up their viewership stuff. So, logistically, it honestly makes sense.
Yeah.
It just kind of sucks that those were the two matchups that you got that day because,
Yeah.
especially for me personally, take the Tennessee aspect out of it. My dad was supposed to come to that one, and there's probably logistically no way he can do that now.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a bummer because you want to give the stadium the maximum opportunity in that game to fill up. And I think it'll still fill up,
For
but like,
Texas, it will. For
yeah,
Texas, it will. With Arch Manning coming down, I don't think the game time is going to dictate that.
right.
Positively, Tennessee plays great at noon games. Like that's the best time Tennessee is because they do
Correct.
early morning practices. They always practice at like 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and then get out. So they're used to playing football early in the day. So from a Tennessee standpoint, it's really actually probably the best scenario they could have.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I told you this. I don't remember the last time Tennessee had a noon kick in an SEC game. I think it may have been Vanderbilt in 24 because I don't think last
No,
year there was a noon kick for an SEC game.
I kind of think that they kicked off Mississippi State at noon, but I could be way wrong.
No, that was a night.
No,
That was
2:30
a night
kick or
kick.
3:30. No, it
No,
wasn't a night kick. No, it was an afternoon kick. I was
that's
there.
right. It was an afternoon
Yeah.
kick. Yeah, but it wasn't. It wasn't a noon kick. I don't think that they've had a noon kick since Vanderbilt in 2024 because that for sure was a noon kick. And so it's good. I mean that part of it is good, and it also what I don't know what Auburn's week is like that week, but it helps that looking ahead because the reality is that Texas game is it being at home and a noon kick makes it a little. I think it's still probably a 60-40, 70-30 Texas advantage on that, just depending on what the defense and the offense look like for Tennessee. But I think that you know you're looking at that Auburn week. Hopefully, that's a night kick, and Auburn has a night kick themselves, and that helps. That helps getting ready for them, and you know. So from there, the rest of the schedule goes. You have Auburn at Arkansas, Alabama. That's your next 3 weeks. All three of those are flex, so they're going to be an afternoon or night kick, and would love to see that Arkansas kick be the afternoon slot, not the night slot. I don't know what else is going on in the SEC that week, but would love for that to be earlier in the day. I really don't see Arkansas being good this year, mostly because I have zero faith in Ryan Silverfield. It wasn't
Well,
like he was productive at Memphis.
and well, that's the problem, right? If Arkansas is not good, that could very well be the SEC Network game that day.
I mean, maybe, but
Um,
like, God, that would suck. You,
um, Georgia, Alabama will be at night. Florida, South Carolina got the noon game, noon to one start.
Okay. Like confirmed they got that one?
Yeah, they're okay. So here's the deal: you're basically competing. They flexed everything, and the three other games that are
Ole Miss Vanderbilt,
so
I could see that being SEC Network afternoon slot. I think,
you better hope not, because
or the night kick.
um, LSU Kentucky is a night kick.
It's
Um,
confirmed a night kick.
it's 6 to 8, and Georgia Alabama is 6 to 8.
Oh,
Tennessee Arkansas is the only game that day that's flexed afternoon or night.
yeah. There's no
And
way.
Ole Miss Vanderbilt.
Ole Miss Vanderbilt. I would be I would be shocked if they didn't put South Carolina, Florida at noon.
So
Uh,
that's a noon to one start. That's happening in a
okay.
noon to one start for A&M Missouri. The only guarantees that they are Georgia Alabama is at night, Kentucky LSU is at night, and
Yeah.
Texas Oklahoma is the 3:30 game. It's the Red River rivalry that day, so they're the 3:30 ABC game.
Red River Shootout. Let's call it by its proper name.
Well,
Uh,
whatever.
and yeah, I would be shocked if because you're talking they would put Tennessee, Arkansas at that point on ESPN2 because I think Ole Miss Vanderbilt will be
Well,
the other
the only
night
thing with that
kick.
is you could get an outside conference game at that point too. You got to compete with that a little bit on like the ESPN two type thing.
For a night kick. Yeah.
Well, for an afternoon kick too.
Yeah, true. But I could I'll be shocked if Tennessee Arkansas is not on ESPN or
So it won't be. Oh no, sorry, hang on. Yeah, they haven't announced that yet. Okay, yeah. So I don't know yet. I was looking up the ACC schedule that week, and that's not
yeah.
on the ESPN app yet. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I think like I said, I don't think that's going to be a night kick. I think that'll be an afternoon
yeah.
kick. And that flexed only for afternoon and uh, evening. There's no noon kick option on that one.
For
Tennessee, Arkansas.
no, that's yeah, yeah. There's no noon. It's either afternoon or evening.
Okay. Yeah. So, that's one that you'd like to see at that point. Alabama, if Alabama's a night kick, I may reconsider whether we go or not. We currently are set for Texas and LSU, but an Alabama night kick would be insane. And
Well, let me tell you this then. Okay, so Auburn, Georgia's that day, but it's an afternoon game. Don't know what time it's starting yet, but that's an afternoon game.
okay,
Mississippi State LSU is already slotted for an early kick. Don't know
okay,
what for sure yet. Missouri Ole Miss is an afternoon kick. Kentucky Oklahoma is an afternoon night flex. So Tennessee Alabama, I would assume, get priority over that.
yeah,
I like it's definitely a night kick.
mm,
And Florida Texas is already slated for an early kick. The only other game that's SEC game that is slated for a nighttime flex is Arkansas Vanderbilt.
that'll go to the afternoon. I just don't see Arkansas taking a night game. I don't see that at all.
I mean, that could possibly be that one could be um the SEC network game
Yeah. And I'm looking at week 3 or not week 3, the
because
Auburn week. Since we already talked about the other two, looking at the Auburn week, I could see that very well being is Arkansas Texas A&M neutral site or have they gone home and home?
I don't remember.
Okay, and it used to be neutral site. McNeese and LSU have the SEC network night kick. Florida, Missouri, man, I'd be. I think that Auburn game is going to be a night kick. So you're looking at back-to-back night games at home potentially.
But I
Uh,
could see Arkansas A&M being a night kick
I could
if they
see
go
them.
home and home.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's at Kyle Field, I could 100% see them going night kick there. But still, I mean, Auburn at an afternoon kick, you're fine with that too. So, that's you got those three at the flex. I think the next game is the biggest win as you're looking at the game windows, the kickoff windows, at South Carolina on October 24th. The week before your bye week is an afternoon kick. It is set at the afternoon, and Logan, I think that may be the biggest win of this announcement.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's going to end up mattering because and I don't know South Carolina's schedule. Let's see, Kent State, Towson, Alabama. So they're probably 2-2, 3-2.
I'm trying to
Let's say
figure out
three and three.
if he's
So they're
fired.
probably around somewhere around 3-3 at that point. I would think
Yeah,
at best 4-2. It may not matter.
or two
Shane
and
Beamer may
four.
not be there anymore. Yeah,
Yeah,
Shane Beamer may not be there anymore. That may
yeah,
not have mattered quite as much. But yes, you're correct. Getting an afternoon game as opposed to a night game there is um, definitely a plus on this schedule.
yeah. And the other reason why I would be interested. Uh, South Carolina has a bye week before Tennessee. So if they were to fire Beamer, they would do it with 2 weeks for the interim to prepare for the next game. So that game is all around terrifying. You got South Carolina on a bye week, and you're playing Alabama the week before, and then it's the bye week after South Carolina. Classic trap game. And so that not being at night bodes well. But that would be the one I'm circling as that's a game they probably shouldn't lose. Or, well, we'll see how they are at that point in the season. But if there's a game where it's like, all right, where's this hypo team going to lose a game that doesn't make sense that they're losing, that'll be the one that I'm circling for sure. Because South Carolina is going to have kind of everything going for them. They're not going to have anything to play for, most likely. Again, we could be wildly off on them.
Yeah.
They have
But
NFL
I'm
talent.
not saying it'll be a for sure thing, but I'm just saying that there's a shot that
Yeah.
you know.
So, but anyway, South Carolina is an afternoon kick. You'll be able to get out of there before it gets too late into the evening, and that stadium is Williams-Brice Stadium is going absolutely bananas. But you then get the bye week, so it doesn't matter when your kickoff time is. No game on Halloween this year. Kentucky, your first confirmed night game. Logan, you seem to think that dark mode will be that night.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what dark mode will be. I could see it. Like if you got back-to-back games, like they're not going to do dark mode against Alabama. They've already said
No.
that. Like
Yeah.
they do traditional stuff against Alabama, Georgia, Florida. So it's not going to be Alabama. I don't think you're going to go checker kneel in dark mode back-to-back weeks
Right.
if Auburn got to be a night game. So then the only other option is LSU, but you're not going to know the LSU kickoff time before you play the Kentucky game. So then you're risking. Hey, look, Lindo's on the pod on the
Yeah,
stream.
no. I thought she was walking through. She just stood there instead.
Um, I think so. I think that makes logistically the most sense to do dark mode for Kentucky, and I assumed when I saw it that's what it was going to be. I feel better now that Brent Hubbs of VolQuest has said that feels like dark mode as well.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously on the radio team. So I would assume that's probably your dark mode game.
Right. I could also see LSU at Tennessee being a night kick. Like if they can get the heads up like, hey, this will be a night kick, I could see them rolling with dark mode for LSU.
Yes, but I don't think they're going to because I don't think you're going to risk it.
Yeah.
I think they're going to want to go dark mode
When they know they can win. Because you don't want last year with Oklahoma.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So can you imagine the uproar if first year Adidas dark mode they lose?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
you're right.
So yes, that very much feels like a dark mode game because you're already guaranteed the nighttime slot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all if that's what they win.
And then, Logan, have I missed something where Tennessee got ranked 12th?
In football?
Yeah.
No, they haven't come up with any rankings yet.
Okay, the SEC website has Tennessee at number 12 with the number 12 next to them.
Really?
I don't know what that is for. They've got A&M at 5, Oklahoma 6, Alabama 8, Georgia 10. I have no idea what those are. But anyways, so next you go to A&M. That's going to be flex. So you got afternoon or night. I think as far as whatever chances Tennessee has of winning that game, they're better if it's not a night kick. But I'm just going to
I'm
go
not
ahead
sure
and
it's going to matter.
I don't disagree. You got Alabama at Vanderbilt that week, Ole Miss at Oklahoma, and Texas at LSU. So that feels like a game that is going to get pushed into the afternoon slot, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't be
because you think
surprised.
Texas. Well, here's the deal, and I can't. And I'm going to pay more attention this year because you don't know what they find their priority. Are they considering their prime? Like, I would assume they want their primetime game to be the 8 o'clock or the 7:30 game
Yeah,
on ABC.
because Fox
Which you would
has
think would be.
Fox has big noon, CBS has the mid afternoon slot, and ESPN's has always been that night kick.
Yeah, so I would assume that would be Texas LSU that day.
Right.
Then again, maybe Texas is 6-3 right there, and LSU is I don't know, 6-3 as well, 5 and
Right.
4. I don't think LSU's gonna be 5 and 4 at that point, but so then so at that point that's a lot of scheduling and how you've played so far.
Right.
So I could see it possibly going into a night kick, but that very much feels like that could be the warm up for LSU Texas that night because
Yeah.
I just don't know that Missouri's going to be that good. So I could see that being even if that is a night game, I would see that being an SEC Network game.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And then the next is LSU at home. That's going to be a flex kick, afternoon or night. I would love for that to be a night game. Would really love for that to be a night game.
well,
That's
the
what.
only All SEC matchup that day. The only other, the only other All SEC matchup that's flexed to start then is South Carolina Georgia and Kentucky Missouri. You're going to be ahead of Kentucky Missouri.
Yeah.
Then it's just a matter of is South Carolina Georgia going to get the ABC primetime game or is Tennessee LSU?
I think Tennessee LSU will.
Probably.
Regardless of where those two teams are, I think LSU Tennessee will strictly because of Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, I would. I don't disagree.
I know it's not his first time back to Knoxville, but I think if they're not on ABC, they'll be on SEC Network because those two fan bases, they draw such an audience. Those teams draw such an audience that I think that you would be foolish to not make that your night kick, your big focus.
How do you feel about LSU only being a point and a half favorite in that game?
It checks out. Like I think that defense will probably be good, but to the best of my knowledge, Sam Levitt still hasn't practiced.
I'm about to say I'd be more worried about I'm more concerned about LSU's offense than LSU's defense.
I mean, Blake Baker's still there, and they didn't have a ton of guys leaving the portal, and they brought in guys. So I would think their defense is going to continue to be good enough. And Blake Baker,
yeah. I mean, Lane Kiffin's just. I mean, what we say about Josh Allen, we say about Lane Kiffin,
right.
Offensive guru. Like,
yeah,
his offenses are always going to be.
But I don't know who their backup is. Which his backup last year was Trinidad Chambliss.
They got the kid from USC. They got two transfer quarterbacks.
Mayava?
No, the other one.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that's who will be their backup.
Gotcha. Well, yeah. So it'd also be interesting to see like where that team is because Ole Miss his first year at Ole Miss wasn't great. I want to say they were a couple games above 500, but just all about has that team given up yet or not. So I think the line on that is none of the lines shocked me except A&M only being a 9.5 point favorite at home. I thought that line would be a little bit more.
We'll say it's 8.5 right now.
It's 8.5. I think it went down. People taking the spread. So, and then lastly, and this I think is, I don't know if I said a big surprise or not, but this is the biggest surprise to me out of the schedule windows is that Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt is a confirmed night kick. I can't remember when was the last time Vanderbilt was the last time Vanderbilt was a night kick was 2021 at Tennessee. because 2022 and on, it's been that noon kick to get it out of the way because it hasn't been worth watching.
No.
Or last year
2020
was an afternoon kick.
uh
Last year was an
2020
afternoon kick.
2022 was a night kick at
2020,
Vanderbilt. Joe
it
Milton
was
was
raining. It was
slinging that
raining.
pill in the rain.
Yep, that's right.
2023 was at Tennessee. That was an afternoon kick because that's when Milton threw the ball all over the field. 2024 was after the noon kick, and then last year I think,
I don't
and
know
then last year
why
was the
I
night
thought
kick.
this was always a noon kick.
No, and then last year was a night kick. I think, wasn't it?
It was an
No,
afternoon
it was an
kick.
afternoon kick. So
The game didn't go by fast enough.
yeah, that's true. Don't
So
worry, I sat there and watched it.
though those are the windows. Logan, any of these windows make you feel better or worse about any of these games as we look ahead? And we haven't done a full breakdown of what we think the record's going to be yet or anything like that. So don't feel like you have to tip that hand yet. But any of these times give you more or less confidence heading into these games?
I'm not sure about more or less confidence yet. We'll have to get closer to the season, but I mean, Vanderbilt at night, that doesn't really phase me because, like, I understand you're coming off a loss to Vanderbilt last year. Clark Lee's done good things with that program. Yeah, but that's still not a place that it's like, oh, this atmosphere is just going to be out. Like, it's not like you're going to the Swamp at night, right? It's not like you're going to South Carolina at night. So the big win, which we'll both agree on, is probably South Carolina in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Texas at noon actually does give me more confidence. Like, you can say what you want to, and like the atmosphere. I'll be honest with you, night game or no night game, that's the first SEC game with Arch returning.
Yeah.
All that stuff. It's Checker Nealon. Like that atmosphere is going to be nuts anyways. I was at the Georgia game last year for a 3:30 kick, and that atmosphere was nuts.
Yeah.
So like that just kind of is what it is. But I think the big wins are the fact that like last year you had one night game. But we had one home night game. This year you're tracking. I would say at worst you have three. I think that's worst case
The
scenario.
three you think Auburn, Alabama, and Kentucky,
I'm saying Auburn,
Alabama, Kentucky, LSU.
Auburn, Alabama, Kentucky, LSU are all going to have the chance to be in night games. I think you get at least three of those.
Yeah, I think
you at least get two.
I think I could see Alabama not being a night kick. Sorry.
Yeah, I think Alabama. Looking at it, I think they have the best chance of being the night kick.
Because I want to say in 2024. Never mind. It doesn't matter. It's all dependent on like it.
Well, 2024, you had to compete with Texas, Georgia that day.
Right, and they do 2 weeks out, right?
Yes.
So is Tennessee 3-1 or 2-2 at that point? That's going to be the biggest driver there. Or is Tennessee 4-0?
Well, you're tipping your hand early. There you go. I was going to say.
It's just what has happened up to this point. Will drive that Alabama decision, which is not anything new. So, yeah, I think it breaks down well. I think overall makes me feel a little bit better about kind of what I've said is that, yes, it's a 9-game schedule. No, this is not what the schedule that they had last year. But the rankings haven't been put out there yet. But I'd be shocked if there's more than four SEC schedules that are harder or that are easier than Tennessee's. Like I think Tennessee's going to be on the easier side of the conference as far as conference schedule goes. So I think these game times are only going to help because you're not getting some of these road games at night. So I'm very interested to see where that goes. So if you're listening, you made it this far, thank you so much. We are having fun doing this, talking Vols. It's fun to finally get to actually talk some football and get closer to football season. Well under 100 days at this point. And there's still some big things to come. Tennessee's got to announce or do their whole Adidas reveal. That's within the next month, and those things are all really exciting to see. And so ride along with us as we are on the roller coaster that is Tennessee athletics, and like, share, subscribe, rate, all the things. It costs you nothing but helps us tremendously, and we appreciate you listening. So Logan, there's been all of this hubbub, all of this conversation, and if you've missed it, you're living under a rock. Very quickly, Brandon Sorsby, who was a Cincinnati transfer, that Tennessee actually targeted and tried to go get, ultimately committed to Texas Tech, but then revealed that he had a gambling addiction and had bet somewhere around $90,000 on a bunch of different sporting events, including games that he was in, maybe not played in, but was in on the roster of Indiana, bet on Indiana games while there. So common sense would say, all right, his career, at least at the college level, is done, because the one of the biggest no-nos outside of, steroids is betting on sporting events. Every time that this has been brought up at any level, people have been just done. Their careers ended because it does so much to hurt the integrity of the sport. Well, Logan, wouldn't you know it, as the NCAA does, it was taken to court at the local level in Lubbock, Texas, where a totally, just absolutely fair judge looked at the case and said that Brandon Sorsby stood to, what was it, face or accrue significant penalty and damage if he was not allowed to fully participate as a Texas Tech athlete. And he would not be able to get prepared for the draft. He would not be able to get the help that he needs. I meant to have the full quote because it was ridiculous listening to what the judge said. But essentially, the judge said if he is not allowed to play, he will have to face the consequences of his actions for gambling. And so, Logan, at the moment, that judge has granted an injunction, meaning that Brandon Sorsby is fully eligible to play, can join the Texas Tech Raiders team. And there's a whole lot of reactions ranging from, the Texas Tech fans going, hey, why are you guys freaking out? Like it wasn't that much money, to ADs in both the SEC and the Big Ten telling their athletic programs to cancel any games that they have scheduled with Texas Tech across all sports, and to not schedule Texas Tech at all because of the precedent that the school is setting. And so it's a very interesting situation that is obviously going to continue to dramatically play out, because it seems like Texas Tech, anything they do right now is in dramatic fashion, going all the way back to softball. And so I think that it is just a very fluid situation. And, I don't know, Logan, what you think, but, do you think this is a big deal, or are you kind of like, what's all the fuss about?
I mean, at the end of the day, like I say with people that say NIL's ruining sports and transfer portals ruining it and everything, which I think there's some truth to it. It's like on September, you see,
5th.
on September 5th, are you going to sit down and watch college football, whether he plays or not? Are you going to watch Texas Tech play?
I'm not going to go out of my way to watch Texas Tech play.
I may, but at some point you probably will watch them play. So it's like, it's really not affecting us that much.
Right.
So I don't know that I necessarily care that much. I'm more irritated that everybody can get an injunction, but Joey Aguilar can't.
Agreed. We got the one fair judge.
Yeah, like, should he be playing? No. It's a farce. It shouldn't be happening. It's a joke. I don't think there's anything anybody can do about it. There's literally nothing anybody can do about it. You just have to hope that if you have an issue, you can go to your judge and get an injunction, and he shows you favoritism, because that's literally the only way to get anything done now at this point.
Right.
Like, all these ADs are threatening to not play him. Well, Texas Tech came out today and said, anybody who doesn't do us, we're going to sue you for all this different stuff and make you play us. So it's just going round and around and around. And Texas Tech has come out and said, that's not fair. You have to compete against us. If you don't, we will sue you for like I can't remember what they were. Their legal terms, but it was like three different things on three different grounds. They'll just
Yeah.
start suing anybody who tries to boycott them.
Which is the most Texas Tech oil money funded thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, but then it's like, but so then it's like, I mean, what can you do? But like, how do you sue them? Do you sue them in a Texas court? Well, I mean, I don't really think that I don't think Ohio State cares if you sue because then what's Ohio State going to do? Go to their court and
Right.
so then it's like maybe does it look like doesn't look like you can boycott them, but then maybe you can if you just go to your own court and then what court prevails and then does it go to federal? But by this point, I think the easy thing to do is just that the playoff committee is like, we don't honor
Correct.
we're picking the best resumes and we're not honoring yours. You don't meet the
Which
criteria.
some of the things I've seen suggest that the college football playoff committee is not going to do that because why would they do that? Why would they do the logical thing? But yeah, no, I agree. If I'm the committee, I rule all of the games that Sorsby plays in as illegitimate because it and it does open a can of worms too because it's like, is it really the college football playoff committee? Is it their duty to decide who is legitimate and who is not? Because then at that point is a guy like Trinidad Chambliss. What if they don't think that he's a legitimate player because he's playing
Yeah,
in his sixth year? So I understand the argument where they're like, we're not touching
sure.
that. But I also don't think that. I think that Texas Tech is grasping at straws. I'm sure that they could try to sue and things like that. But if at some point there's got to be accountability within the sport, and I I think all this has done is just push us closer to CBA. I know that Danny White was one of the first to say it, and I immediately agreed with him. I just I don't know how else you can fix this because nothing is enforceable because everyone just goes to court, and that's where it gets into all this stuff with Congress where they've essentially got to allow college athletics to operate like the pros and have caps and things like that and be able to tell someone that they can't make money doing something else within their organization or within their the parameters or the confines of college football. And that's the argument right now is that when the NCAA tells a player that they aren't eligible, they're telling them that they can't make money, which is stupid. I'm curious as to at what point does a high school player sue a high school organization? Like in Tennessee, when does a player sue the TSSAA to get an extra year of eligibility in high school? Like, because it's the same thing there. Like they have
Yeah,
rules,
yeah,
and so there's not money in high school, but well, not college money in high school, and so it's one of those things where it's just another, not to be dramatic, but it's another nail in the coffin of the college sports that we once loved. And do I think it's on this path where it's going to radically change and be a shell of itself at some point? No, I don't. I don't think that. But I do think this is a dangerous precedent
precedent
to
to set.
set when you've got one of the biggest no-nos in professional athletics, which at this point you can say collegiate players, it is a professional level sport. They are
Correct.
getting paid to play. Technically, they're not. I get it. But this is one of the
No,
biggest
that
no
they
nos.
are.
Like, Pete Rose isn't in the Hall of Fame because of this, or has he gotten inducted in the Hall of Fame? No, he's not. Still
No.
not eligible for betting on games. And so it is, and there's other examples of college football players that there's that Iowa quarterback that spent $1,200 on bets. There was another one that spent like $900, and there's examples everywhere of guys doing something way less egregious to the sport or to the integrity of the sport because like especially a quarterback, like you're telling, like, he can't prove that he didn't throw a game. Like,
Correct.
as a quarterback, you have the ability to throw an interception at any point. You have the ability to get in your offense's way because you touch the ball every play. Every offensive snap, you touch the ball. And so it's one of those things where it's a dangerous, dangerous slope to go down. And yeah, I think the NCAA needs to figure out what they because that's the other part of this. The NCAA is pointless in college football at this point. Like they are not doing anything to help anything within the sport. The conferences do everything. They have their own officials. They have their own everything, and it is the NCAA should just they need to either completely overhaul and take over football, which I don't think they'll be able to do because they don't even award the national champion. It's the CFP committee and then four other recognized bodies award national champions, which is why schools like UCF and there's another one that has an I can't remember who, but that's why UCF can technically claim a national championship because the smallest of the four bodies recognize it. It's the AP. At one point it was the BCS poll.
Can you believe that athletic director would do that?
I mean,
for UCF.
Why wouldn't he? Helps bring in money.
But I mean, how embarrassed would you be if that was your athletics director?
You're making a joke right now, right? Okay, cool.
I just wanted to see what you would say.
I mean, listen, especially if you're a school like UCF. I mean, Auburn, heck, they did it. They went back and claimed, what was it, 3,
if Danny
4?
did it there, why can't Danny do it here?
Yeah, I mean, why not? Why not? Let's go back and claim some national championships, Danny. Come on. You're going to tear down our precious parking garage.
Why not this year?
Why not this year? Yeah, come on. So, I just question why the NCAA, what the point of their existence is, because they're not doing anything to help college football, and college football drives everything else. And it's just, it's a mess, and it's only going to get worse until something is put in place. And I think collective bargaining makes the most sense. And honestly, if it results in a lockout of sorts where players are like, I'm not going to play, hey, I got news. There are plenty of players in the state of, or not in the state, in the country that would love to play at the Division I level. We will have a college level replacements and be able to get collective bargaining in place. Now, do I think that there needs to be caps for everybody involved? Yes. Like coaches, makes sense that they get capped on their salary too. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense for a coach to be making, $10 million across 5 years and a player isn't able to make the same. Especially when these are state schools, Let's not forget some taxpayer dollars are going to this, which that's a whole political thing that I'm not trying to get into. But, this Sorsby situation it definitely was, it shook my confidence in where college athletics as a whole will continue to go. And, it's funny because everyone, when NIL opened up, said, oh, it's going to be the Ohio States, the Texas, Michigan, Alabama, Georgia. It's going to be all these schools that are going to go out and ruin the sport. No one thought to look in Northwest Texas. Look at old Lubbock, Texas, and go, maybe Texas Tech has the oil money. Maybe they're the ones that are going to ruin it. And lo and behold, here they are. They're ruining college softball, although they didn't win, so it sucks for them. They still can't figure out basketball. And here they are in football. And so, it's one of those things where it's going to be very interesting. I think my favorite rebuttal through all this has been Texas Tech fans saying that Georgia's hypocritical. The Georgia's AD is hypocritical because of the amount of speeding tickets that they've gotten, that it has even resulted in one death. Not that the death is funny. Let me be very clear. Death is not funny.
I'm about to say, woo.
Yeah, but the fact that they're like, oh, Georgia has all these speeding tickets. Speeding tickets don't have anything to do with the game of football. This directly affects the game of football. So, Logan, anything else?
No.
Starting to feel like football season.
The schedule. I'm about to say, I'm ready. And I'm negative about this football season, and I'm still ready because I'm a sucker. So.
Yeah, we'll get to talk about the schedule and our predictions and all of that soon. And so, Logan, we have a guest lined up, working on some more for a podcast to, maybe a former player of Knowles, to get some insight on the defense and how it works at a more detailed level. So excited about that. Don't know when it's going to be yet. Working on talking with their agent, aka he's got to talk with his wife, see when he can do it. But exciting things coming up. Going to get to talk more and more football as the summer goes on, as we get closer. And Logan, make your pick. Who's starting quarterback?
Ryan Stop.
Oh, there it is. There it is. All right, everyone. We'll talk to you next time. See ya.